Shrija. So my sunscreen is really moisturizing and it spreads easily. So can I just use like a tiny amount? I usually just like take this much and just dab it on my entire face and neck, and then I'm done. And oh my god, this bottle, it lasts so long. Oh my god, no. First of all, sunscreen is not a moisturizer, so please don't treat it like one. And if you don't use the correct amount, then you're not gonna get full protection that is mentioned on the label of that product. Well, let's get into the details. Hello everyone, this is Shrija. Welcome to SkinOreal, where I talk all things skincare. So if you like skincare related content, then make sure that you're subscribed. Likewise, you can also follow me on Instagram, where I post more regularly. So welcome back to my lessons on sunscreen. This is part 2, and if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, then there's no point going through this section, because honestly you're not going to understand most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about. So I highly recommend that you go through sunscreen lesson part 1, the link is right here, and then come back and check out this video. Now moving on to my lesson number 4 on sunscreens, that is the right amount of sunscreen that you need to apply to get the full protection mentioned on the label of the product. Now this lesson is extremely important because I find that most of the time people under apply their sunscreens using only about half or even 1/4 of the required amount. Now ideally you should just use half teaspoon sunscreen for your face. What? Are you kidding, Shrija? No, unfortunately I'm not, because these estimates are based on the average of face sizes of different people and the amount of sunscreen that is used in the SPF testing, which is 2 milligram per square centimeter of your skin. So applying the correct amount is extremely important, because when you don't apply the correct amount, you only get half or probably even less than half of the protection. For instance, if you under apply a sunscreen that has SPF 30 and say that you only apply half of the required amount, you will only get an SPF protection of 15. Now, having said that, reapplication is also extremely necessary, because most of the sunscreen filters are not photostable and they tend to break down after absorbing too much of UV rays. And even with the photostable UV filters, the film tends to get thinner or rubbed off and therefore just weakens. So reapplication is very necessary. So the key takeaway from this lesson is that the right amount of sunscreen is very important. Use half teaspoon for your face and a shot full glass for your entire body as a guideline. And reapplication is as important as the first application. Moving on to lesson number 5, that is the difference between chemical or organic or physical or inorganic sunscreens. The sunscreens are divided into 2 different categories based on the active ingredients used. The 2 categories are chemical or organic sunscreens and physical or inorganic sunscreens. The organic sunscreens are those that contains organic chemicals as their active ingredients. Wait. By organic chemicals, I do not mean that these chemicals are organically grown or they are some natural chemicals, some kind of natural crap. By organic, I simply mean that these ingredients primarily contain carbon atoms. They work by absorbing the UV rays and stopping them from reaching your skin. Most common chemical filters are oxybenzone, levobenzone, octocrylene, homosalate, octinoxate, octisalate, and there are several more which are even harder to pronounce. The physical or inorganic sunscreens contain metal oxides such as zinc or titanium dioxide as their active ingredient. They work by creating a physical barrier on your skin and by reflecting about 4 to 5% of the UV rays. For the rest 95% of the UV rays, they work in a similar manner as chemical sunscreens and absorb them, therefore preventing it from reaching your skin. The key takeaway from this lesson is that chemical or mineral, both the sunscreen can provide an ideal level of UV protection. However, I personally like chemical sunscreen more because they are easier to use, they spread easily and feel more comfortable on the skin. as compared to mineral sunscreens, which can often feel sticky on the skin and tends to leave a white cast. However, it doesn't really matter if you use a physical or a chemical sunscreen. The main criteria should be that you're using a broad spectrum sunscreen, you're using the correct amount. And now it's time for my last lesson on sunscreen, which is sunscreen recommendations. I know it is really frustrating and difficult to find the right type of sunscreen, and it took me a lot of hits and misses and clogged pores to find the ones that work for my skin type. So today I'm going to talk about my top 5 sunscreen recommendations, and while choosing a sunscreen, I usually have 3 categories in my mind. Number 1, the amount of UV protection that they provide. Number 2, the formula. I personally love formulas that are easy to spread because I tend to reapply my sunscreen, and boy, if a formula is thick and goopy, I tend to skip on that reapplication, and I don't want that. So for me, formula really matters. And the third thing is price and the availability of that sunscreen. And also if it's a mineral or a physical sunscreen, then I also take into consideration the amount of white cast. So let's get straight into my recommendations. So starting with Purito Centella Green Level Unscented Sun SPF 50 PA 4+. This is probably one of my favorite sunscreens of all times. I have been using it consistently every day for about 7 months now, and I love it. It is formulated with Uvenyl A and Uvenyl T+, which are both broad spectrum and stable chemical filters. So this is essentially a chemical sunscreen, and it almost feels like a moisturizer on your skin. Dry skin people will really appreciate it. But the best part is that even like I have oily and acne prone skin, and it just blends into my skin. It is also formulated with other amazing ingredients like niacinamide, Centella asiatica and vitamin E. It costs around rupees 12.50 for a 60 ml tube, but it's so worth it. The next sunscreen on my list is again from Purito, and it's a physical sunscreen, and consider it as a cousin to the chemical sunscreen that I just talked about. It's called Purito Comfy Water Block SPF 50 PA 4+ again. The active ingredients are non-nano zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Somehow all the physical sunscreens that I have tried in the past felt really heavy on my skin, but this one, it feels like a moisturizer. Like, I don't know how Purito did this, but this is a water-based physical sunscreen, and it feels amazing on your skin. I personally did not have any problem with the white cast, but my friend tried it and she did experience a bit of white cast. But honestly, it was nothing compared to the white cast that I've experienced in the past by using other physical sunscreen. If you are someone who is very prone to acne or chemical sunscreen tend to irritate your skin, then this is an amazing option for you. It costs the same one as the chemical variant, rupees 12.50 for a 60 ml tube. Next up is Innisfree Daily Mild SPF 50 PA 4+. This is formulated with 2 chemical filters, Tinosorb S and Uvenyl A. It is such an elegant formula and again feels so light and moisturizing on your skin. I have used this sunscreen for almost 2 years and I never faced any problem with it. But the only reason that I stopped using it is because it has added fragrance, and recently I have started experiencing irritation in my skin due to fragrance. So I try to avoid fragrance in leave-on products. However, if you're someone who does not mind fragrance in their skincare, then this sunscreen is perfect for you. It costs around rupees 700 for a 60 ml tube and is widely available in India. The next recommendation is La Shield SPF 40 PA 3+. I recently tried this sunscreen and I was really amazed by the formula. It is again very lightweight, non-comedogenic, and is usually recommended by dermatologists in India for people who have oily skin and are prone to acne. It is a combination sunscreen and it contains both chemical and physical filters. The active ingredients in this sunscreen are octinoxate, diethylamino hydroxybenzole hexyl benzoate, bis-ethyl-lexyloxyphenol methoxyphenyl trizane, titanium dioxide, diethylexybutamidotriazole. Boy, I am surprised I was able to pronounce all of these words. I'm sure my pronunciation is not 100%, but still I was able to get through it. So I'm proud of myself. Anyway, it costs around rupees 790 for 60 ml and is one of the most affordable ones in my recommendation list. Now the last sunscreen that I'm going to talk about is not easily available in India, but is probably one of the best physical sunscreens that I have tried, and it is a really popular one. It's a sunscreen by Elta MD, SPF 40, and is especially formulated for people who are prone to acne, rosacea, or have sensitive skin in general. The sunscreen contains 9% transparent micronized zinc oxide that provides an effective protection against damaging UVA and UVB rays. Honestly, there is no one size fits all when it comes to skincare industry, and especially when it comes to sunscreens. This one just ticks in all the boxes and is really suitable for most of the skin types. I think it is because of its unique formula that contains hyaluronic acid, niacinamide and lactic acid that also works on hyperpigmentation and acne scars. So if you're someone who lives outside India and is looking for a formula that is suitable for acne prone skin and can also work on your acne scars, then you should really give this one a try. However, if you live in India, this one can be really expensive because it comes around 3100 rupees for 48 grams and plus the shipping and the custom duties. That is the reason that I don't use it regularly. So yeah, that was the end of my recommendation list. Comment below your favorite sunscreen because I love to try new ones. And if you guys enjoyed watching this video, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.